My name is Avram Baskin, and I'm presenting Article 28, Accurate Reporting on the Negative Aspects of Lithium-Ion Batteries. These posters represent the discussions we have in Lexington when we talk about the benefits of using green technology to help us reduce dependence on fossil fuels. We use words like green and clean and healthy. We typically refer to batteries or electric batteries, not lithium-ion batteries, but the fact is the only electric battery technology currently available that will help us meet our goals for fighting climate change are lithium-ion batteries. For the rest of this presentation, I will refer to lithium-ion batteries. The objective of this article is to encourage staff, committees, and other Lexington organizations to be open and honest in our advocacy for lithium-ion batteries. Climate change poses an existential threat to all life on Earth, and fossil fuels are one of the main contributors. While critical to reducing dependence on fossil fuels, lithium-ion batteries have environmental impacts and social and environmental justice issues that affect indigenous and marginalized communities around the world. Referring to lithium-ion batteries as green, clean, and healthy is not accurate and does not acknowledge the pain of those indigenous and marginalized communities. My hope is that we will stop describing these batteries as green and clean and healthy. It is not an objective of this article to inspire anyone to try and reverse any prior votes of town meeting, to reword any prior votes of town meeting, or to change the implementation dates of any prior votes of town meeting. Cradle-to-grave studies, or life cycle analysis, consider cumulative emissions from extraction, manufacturing, fuel production and distribution, vehicle use, and end-of-life disposal. The aggregated data compares emissions from different energy sources, in this case, gasoline-powered vehicles and electric vehicles. Cradle-to-grave studies by the MIT Energy Initiative and Argonne National Laboratory reach similar conclusions. Gasoline-powered vehicles are dirtier than electric vehicles. Electric vehicles have their own carbon footprint and also contribute to climate change and global warming. They are a less dirty alternative. The social and environmental justice issues associated with lithium-ion batteries occur throughout their life cycle: production, mining and refinement, use, placement of infrastructure, and disposal. The Democratic Republic of the Congo is the source of 70% of the cobalt currently used worldwide. The indigenous population lives in abject poverty. Average salary is $1,200 per year. Adults and children working as artisanal miners work under slave labor conditions. Young girls and adult women are subject to various forms of sexual abuse related to the mining of cobalt. Adults and children working as artisanal miners lack the most basic protective equipment: gloves, face masks, boots, goggles, or helmets. Lack of protective equipment causes a variety of severe health issues, some fatal. Amnesty International visited a village where the residents showed that the water in the stream they drank from was contaminated by the discharge of waste from a mineral processing plant. Residents are often forced to leave their homes to make way for mine expansion. South America's lithium golden triangle is the source of 60% of the lithium currently used worldwide. Extraction of lithium from brines stored deep underground is energy intensive and requires large amounts of water. Once on the surface, the brines are left to dry in arid salt flats. The extraction and drying process degrades the local environment and negatively impacts the health and quality of life of the indigenous population. Indigenous communities do not have legal options because there is not a process for negotiation with mining companies. Thacker Pass may contain the largest known lithium deposits in the United States. A 6,000-acre open-pit lithium mine on Thacker Pass has been proposed. Lithium Nevada promises responsible mining practices and environmental sustainability, but there will be a carbon footprint, water lost, and an impact on the environment. At full production, almost 153,000 tons of carbon dioxide will be emitted, 680,000 tons of sulfur will be burned, and nearly 2 billion gallons of water will be consumed annually. The people of Red Mountain, PRM, represents members of the Fort McDermott, Paiute, and Shoshone tribes. For PRM, Thacker Pass, known as Pahimaha or Rotten Moon, is sacred ground that includes cultural and burial sites. They believe the Bureau of Land Management did not communicate with the tribes in good faith. PRM believes there will be a devastating environmental and spiritual cost for the Native Americans they represent, amounting to cultural genocide to the Paiute and Shoshone people. On the horizon is the mining of the ocean floor, an untapped source of lithium, cobalt, and other metals needed for lithium-ion batteries. Scientists who study deep-sea ecosystems believe this mining will cause serious and irreversible damage. Mining will contribute to global warming and climate change and will put new pressures on global fisheries. Indigenous communities that rely on fishing as a way of life live within areas where proposed mining will take place. Fishing is the main source of revenue, employment, and food. Indigenous people have cultural connections to the oceans that will be disrupted by deep-sea mining. Deep-sea mining will have negative impacts on local economies, well-being, and the human right to food and health. A 2024 study from the Union of Concerned Scientists and 3 other organizations showed that the siting of energy infrastructure in Massachusetts has historically been disproportionately located in environmental justice communities. The climate bill signed by Governor Healy addressed the issues raised in the study and in a subsequent blog post by Paula Garcia, the study's lead author. Included are a required cumulative impacts analysis, appointment of representatives from environmental justice and indigenous communities to the Energy Facilities Siting Board, and prioritization of health and climate change in decision-making. The climate bill had a positive outcome for environmental justice communities in Massachusetts, but there are environmental justice communities across the country and around the world that will continue to suffer from inequitable placement of energy infrastructure. Worldwide, only a fraction of lithium-ion batteries are recycled. A report from Resource Recycling Systems estimates that between 75% and 92% of these batteries are not disposed of properly. When these batteries enter the waste stream, they are subject to a variety of conditions that can damage them and cause fires that release toxic fluoride gas, carbon monoxide, and other toxic substances. Batteries that are not disposed of properly can end up in landfills that are disproportionately located near low-income, non-white communities. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, over a 7-year period, 78% of recycling centers and 40% of landfills had at least one fire related to lithium-ion batteries. There are technologies currently under development that may reduce the need for cobalt and lithium or replace these metals altogether. However, the most optimistic estimates for these technologies is that most will not be available on an industrial scale until at least 2030. In Judaism, we have the concept of tikkun olam, which teaches us that we have a responsibility to do what we can to repair the world. That's the world, not our little wealthy privileged corner of the world. Lexington's Green, Clean, and Healthy has negative environmental, social justice, and environmental justice consequences for Indigenous people and marginalized communities throughout the world. We owe it to them to be open and honest about the bad as well as the good of the technology that we like. I believe that Lexington residents are smart and thoughtful. Being open and honest about lithium-ion batteries will not cause residents to be less committed to fighting climate change and transitioning to green energy. Rather, it will make our advocacy more credible. For more detailed information, refer to the supporting document included in the section for this article on the 2025 Annual Town Meeting webpage, titled Research Review for Article 28. This presentation and the supporting document were written for what I assumed was a primarily non-technical audience. For more technical information, there is a link to each source in the references section of the supporting document.